Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Frome CC podcast. Taking a look back at 2019 with one or two stories, results, all kinds of different stuff. I've got my trusty co-host with me once again, Reece Croker. Reggie, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm okay, Robin. How are you, me old mucker?
Mate, it's been good, isn't it? We've had a decent response to this thing from last week.
Yeah, pretty happy with it, man.
What's the view count? Have you got a latest view count for us on YouTube?
No, I'll have a look now. Hang on.
I think
I'm surprised. Go on.
I think last time I looked, it was somewhere up in the 120s, 130, something like that. Before we get started into the episode today, I think from Reggie and I, obviously we've put a decent amount of effort into trying to make something that's enjoyable for the people at home. We really appreciate some of the kind things you guys have said, but most importantly, the donations you made towards the club sort of blown us away a bit, hasn't it, mate?
Yeah. Quite surprised how much we got, to be honest, mate.
I know, it's amazing. I think we're up over 1,100, which is amazing. And to be honest, having a chat with the chairman the other day, kind of get a feel for quite how much it costs to keep a cricket club like ours running. So everything that you guys are doing at home, just putting your hand in your pocket when you can, is really going to help us out going forward. And hopefully, if we've got any cricket coming up this summer, we'll sort of see the benefit of that. So once again, if you haven't donated and you enjoyed the first episode, then feel free to just hit pause now and go on the GoFundMe page. You can search, I think it's Frome Cricket Club or Nick Larder or whatever. We'll put a link in the description. So, Reggie, obviously it's been a little week's gone past since the last episode. What's been happening? Any highlights?
No highlights, mate. Same as last week. Pretty boring, to be honest.
You had a little bit of a scare though, didn't you, with Fred and Paige?
Yeah, they were okay. They went for their test and shook it off. So good to go, mate.
That's probably for the best, considering those brownies you dropped on my doorstep on Monday morning. Very nice.
I bet you disinfected them, didn't you?
Oh, I gave the box a little bit of a spray, but the brownies themselves are pretty decent. That must have been Paige. I can't be you. I wouldn't have thought.
No, I cooked them.
You cooked my brownies?
Yeah, I didn't wash my hands either.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. All right, nice. So today, it's a pretty good one, isn't it, today?
Yeah, it is a good one. So quite excited. We've
got 3 guests coming on the show today, one of whom has been voted in by the diehard 22 Twitter followers that decided to vote, most of which I would have thought probably his family, because he did say how much he wanted to come on the show. But coming on a little bit later, that's Josh Cantrell. We have the second team captain, who we'll introduce first, from last season. His second season in charge, or second and first and a half. I don't know how you describe it. Probably had season and a half in charge. Of course, is our vice chairman, trusty second team captain and all-round decent bloke, Richard Potter. Can you hear us out there, Potts?
Hello, you all right?
Hey, we did it.
Hey, here he is.
First time, mate.
We're going to run into the first technical difficulties of the evening. Ricky, how's things, mate? How are you?
Okay, I think, mate. A lot of sport quizzes get me through the tough days, I think, at the moment.
I don't know about you, Reggie. Well, you probably don't care because you never take part in them. But I must have done 15 quizzes in the past 6 weeks.
I haven't done one, mate. I haven't done one.
Well, I'm not going to do Ricky's on Sunday because, well, we know what he's like with the old quiz questions. But
we won't do that.
Potts, you missing cricket?
Yeah. I found my Thursdays and Fridays was a lot less stressful than I remember them being this time last year. But I'm phoning Nick a lot less than I probably did this time last year. But no, it is. It's just a big miss, and it's not going to be the same till we get back out.
Yeah, and it's usually this sort of time of the season where the football starts getting exciting. Obviously, you're usually chewing your fingernails in a relegation battle. Reece is watching Leeds chuck away a promotion spot. Life without sport at all has been pretty tricky for me, Potts, given we share a lot of the same interests. What have Saturday afternoons been like? No cricket and no Jeff Stelling to look at.
You do what you can, Robin, don't you? You go and play cricket. You look at your 6 scores from the last 5 years.
And how's that looking?
You feel like you can still play the game.
What is your play cricket stats looking like, Potts?
Batting or bowling?
Whichever's best.
I was looking at a 5 for 7 I had the other day. Actually, the Captain Scott lot that came. There was a hat trick which didn't make it on the board actually, which annoyed me a bit. But
what?
Yeah, I sort of gave up after that one. Wasn't going to top that.
Well, you can do what you like, mate. You're captain. Listen, we're going to get onto a sort of more in-depth look at your season last year. It was a bit of a roller coaster, and those of you that maybe don't know the full story behind it, we won't spoil the ending, which is pretty dramatic, up there with some of the best movie scripts out there. But first of all, I'm going to introduce my second guest. We have the captain of the ladies' side, very important figure at the club at the moment in terms of developing ladies and girls cricket. So it's really nice to have Kathy Dredge on the line with us as well. Kath, can you hear me?
Hello.
Hello. How are you? You all right?
2 from 2.
How are you?
We're absolutely flying. If Josh manages to make it on the call a little bit later without a mistake, then this is our best episode yet, I'd say, mate. Kath, how's everything going? You working from home? Are you furloughed? You got some time off?
I'm working from home, but also going into work maybe once a week just to work with the kids. Some of the kids who kind of belong to key workers, so I'm working with them. But I'm doing lots of uni work. Really busy.
Trying to no difficulties trying to fill the hours in the day then.
Absolutely not.
I've done all sorts. I mean, obviously, the 2 kids running around is sort of an interesting challenge. I spend most of my days standing outside my house with a hose, waiting for Reece, Paige, and to walk past, so I can cover them in water. Kath, I think we're going to start with just a look back at the ladies' season last year. I mean, obviously for you, if we went back 2 years, we didn't really have any ladies cricket at all to speak of at the club, did we?
No, it was really difficult. Maybe had kind of 8 players who were interested in taking part, but we've really developed since then. So yeah, it's positive.
I know from experience being out on the outfield on Friday evenings, how sort of regular that number of kind of 10 to 15, you get is. It's amazing to see kind of where we come from. I mean, just tell us about, for those people that don't know, just the kind of cricket you play and the sort of teams you come up against.
So we play softball cricket at the moment, kind of games of 12 overs. We're playing alongside teams in the Bath and North East Somerset, so Midsummer Norton, Beckington, Bath, Street, Stanton Drew. We come across them on a regular basis. But yeah, it's nice. We kind of have 8 players for the team, and we bat in pairs. So it's nice actually. It's kind of fun, not too competitive, but we're hoping to kind of develop into more competitive cricket later on.
Is it difficult to get the balance right between having new players or players that kind of just want to play for the social side of it versus those that kind of really are a bit more competitive and sort of
I think so, because if you look at kind of the age that we've got of some of our players, we're kind of a mix of age range. There's some of us that want to come play socially for fun, some for fitness, some for competitiveness. Like personally, I'm a dredge, so I've been brought up around cricket and competitiveness. So actually, I don't go out to play to lose. So I'm quite competitive, and I try to instill that. But yeah, we're kind of a lot of socially, and then fun, but competitive as well. Try to.
Speaking of competitive, you reeled off some names there, which obviously the club, has got some history. What's the rivalry like with Beckington and Midsummer Norton and then those guys?
To be honest, we haven't. Although Beckington kind of are in our league, actually, we haven't played against them very much. I guess Midsummer Norton are our biggest competitive challenge. We kind of come up across them in indoor league, outdoor league. But yeah, it's turned into kind of like a nice, fun but competitive challenge that we all kind of like to dig our teeth into, and we all kind of want to come away from their match and win. Midsummer Norton probably are taking control of that at the moment, but I'd like to challenge them back and say we'll get them next season.
Oh, I mean, without question, we can't have Norton, taking the honours around. Obviously, the men's and women's first team is going to be locking horns at some point, hopefully this year, if not next year. So, you've got to make sure that you keep the pride, on the right side.
Yeah.
Obviously, we'll talk about some of your games in a moment, but. One event I remember from last year that was just brilliant was the bubbles and bats that you did on that Friday night. I mean, can you obviously? Hopefully we've got some girls out there listening and might be interested in sort of what it's like to come and play for Frome. Can you maybe tell us a little bit about that event that happened last year, and then maybe if you've got anything else planned?
Bubbles and Bats was an event put together by Somerset Cricket Board, where we tried to kind of incorporate women's cricket, develop women's cricket. So on a Friday night, we kind of put it to the public. They got in contact if they wanted to join and play cricket. We had teams of 6, I think it was. And we just went out and played. I think it was 8 overs, really like socially and fun. And then you got to enjoy a nice bottle of Prosecco afterwards. So it was quite a nice little incentive to come and play cricket. But the main thing was to develop cricket. And to kind of show that actually it's not just a men's sport, women do play it as well. And actually it was really successful and lots of people had fun, and we had some interest off the back of that who contacted the club, and then actually came to some training sessions. So it was quite nice, it was positive.
And we had, and for Nick will speak about next week when he comes on, we had some girls turning up playing in the third team, hardball cricket. Is that something that you're hoping to see a bit more of going forward next year?
I think so. I think it's going to be a challenge trying to find the social side and the competitiveness side. So maybe playing for the threes is an option for those who want to play cricket at a more competitive level. I guess it's quite a nice. I think the third team is isn't it like a development team?
It's meant to be, yeah, I think so. I mean, obviously, well, Ricky, who's probably listening at the moment, will tell you that on a Monday evening at selection, we go in with the best intentions of it being a developmental side, don't we, Potts?
Yeah. Nick will be listening to this, won't he? Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And obviously, we'd love to have ladies and under 16s in there as a priority, but unfortunately, we don't always have the availability. So you get two sides of the coin with Nick. He'll either, if you go in and he doesn't say anything, he's got 7. So he just, he's sort of there quietly, and then it will come to him, and he'll sort of smile and say something to the tune of, "Don't worry, I love it." If he comes in, sits down, effing and blinding, moaning this, that, and the other, he hasn't. And then it's, we end up having to kind of draft in all kinds of people from, all kinds of different places, like, late night call-ups in the Vine Tree, Ricky. If Robbie Midcar listening, you're more than welcome to come down for a game.
That one on the line, unfortunately.
Fell through the cracks.
Ideally, I think if we had ladies that really wanted to play hardball senior cricket, I mean, they would take precedent over, some of the players that very kindly help us out on Saturdays from time to time, but probably aren't that fussed either way between playing or not playing.
Yeah.
Do you think many ladies would sort of see that as their next step, or hardball cricket within the current lady setup?
I think initially hardball within the current lady setup. We had a couple of hardball training sessions towards the end of last year, beginning of this year, which quite a few of our ladies from Frome got involved with. So I think actually maybe that initially, and then I think it's because it's almost a bit intimidating sometimes if you go out and play with the guys. So I think once we've built up confidence within the women's kind of section, then we'll feel more confident to kind of join the men. So Yeah.
I think what's really encouraging as well is the amount of girls that I have in my youth section at the moment. You know, and they come every week and they really enjoy it. And I know that you've had some of those girls come and train with you as well.
Yeah, they have. Yeah.
And you know, the feedback I've had from them is they've just had a brilliant time. So I think it's certainly if things are thriving, and you're kind of at the centre of that. Can you sort of talk us through any memorable games from last season that sort of stick out?
I guess one game when we got kind of our best lead was we were playing Stanton Drew away at Street last year, and I can't really remember how the game kind of went, but I do know that they batted first, and then they put on quite a high number, and then we batted next, and we beat them by 70 runs, which actually is quite a large amount, probably our best lead to date. So yeah, that was probably one of the highlights in terms of matches, because we got a good score on the board. But I guess finals day for us was an important kind of highlight. We kind of 2018 we managed to go through to finals day. 2019 we did the same. We in that day we played 3 matches. We won 2, lost 1, which took us through to the semi-finals of the East Bath and North East Somerset Cup. And we finished in 3rd place. Unfortunately, we came across Midsummer Norton in the semi-finals. Damn it. They managed to beat us in that one. So final place. They actually then went and won the whole league. So, but 3rd place was an outstanding achievement, because the year before we finished 5th. So again, highlights progress for us.
Brilliant. I mean, I guess fortunately we've had a couple of runs to Taunton in recent years in the men's and women's, and it doesn't get any less exciting to go there and play, does it? The stadium as it is now, is a great spectacle, isn't it? And I guess it must be a real thrill for some of the younger players in your team.
Absolutely, definitely. I think my Uncle Colin played there, so it's also really nice to kind of be in the same environment that he once played in. So yeah, it's quite meaningful. It's really nice.
We're gonna have to have another Dredge on next week's episode, otherwise we won't be able to up our 100%.
There's plenty of them, don't worry.
We got a whole list we can pick from.
Well, I'd imagine there's probably one selection that might be a little risky with our strict no swearing policy. Even though Danners has texted me about 100 times.
I think we should get Danners on the show.
Oh, he wants to come on. He
does. He's been on at me. He wants a little cameo appearance.
We better put him on the vote.
We'll put him on the poll next week. We'll see if he gets the nod. Listen, Kathy, obviously, hopefully we get some cricket. If not, I suppose your biggest job will be, maintaining that enthusiasm through next winter and then back into the summer. But it sounds to me like you've got a pretty good group of ladies.
Yeah, I think throughout. I don't know if you've seen on Facebook over the past couple of weeks, we took part in a poll for the. Went through to the cup, and actually that was really positive, and I think that really inspired lots of people from Frome to kind of get involved, which again promoted women's cricket. But yeah, we had 350 odd votes, and we came across Knoll in the semi-final, and they only beat us by 2. And I think for like a big club from Bristol, 350 plus votes from Frome was great. It was brilliant, actually. I was checking my phone every 2 minutes, just seeing. Yeah. It was touch and go. It was really intense, but so, like things like that, it's encouraging. It's kind of socialising. It's been nice. It's good.
Awesome stuff. Listen, Kath, thank you so much for coming on with us this evening, telling us a little bit about ladies cricket. If there are any ladies out there that want to sort of come and give it a go, give it a try, I'm sure there's always going to be room for new members, and Kath's doing a great job with that side. So website FromeCricketClub.com, is it? I don't know, I'm not sure if that is that right. maybe just Google it and you'll find out.
We've got a Facebook page as well, Frome Ladies Softball Cricket. So yeah, feel free to add and I will accept.
All right, fantastic, brilliant. All right, well, listen, Kath, thanks so much for joining us, and I hope you stay safe and well, and we'll see you down the club soon. A glass of prosecco.
Hopefully, yes.
Or two.
Right. Cheers, Kath.
Bye.
Cheers, Kath. Bye.
Bye.
It's pretty awesome what they're doing, Reggie, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah, it's very good.
From where we were, in terms of membership numbers that we had at the end of the 2017 season. In 2017 finish, we had that sort of mad scramble to try and get 8 youth players, down play a game of cricket. We had no ladies at all. So sort of seeing what it's like at the club on a Friday night, I mean, it's pretty awesome, isn't it? I mean, Kath's doing a great job.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, and she does put a lot of time into it, doesn't she? So, long may it continue, mate.
Yeah, and obviously, hopefully, we can see them turn around that rivalry of Norton, because we need to make sure that we. They got
a lot of airtime there, didn't they, Midsummer Norton?
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about that, to be honest.
No.
Right. So we have got Ricky on the line still, obviously, and we're going to bring in our second guest to talk about the second team season last year. Those of you that were at presentation night will obviously be a little bit concerned as to how much of your day this podcast is going to take out. I have a mute button in front of me, so I can switch either of these two badgers off if I need to at any point. Badger number 2 on the line. Well, I'm hoping he's going to unmute his microphone and join us. He's in the middle of a game of Scrabble with his mum. So if he doesn't come online, we'll know why. Josh, can you hear us?
I can hear you, Robin. I just
look at it.
How's the game going, Josh?
Yeah, I won. First time in a long time. So.
Do you get a triple word score?
Yeah, won by about 80 points, mate.
Oh, well, it's a landslide. Awesome.
No tea for you tonight.
Right, so Josh, thanks for coming on. How's things been with you? You still doing bits and bobs, teaching where you can?
Yeah, online lessons, 1 a day for each group, and just setting some online work, but all a bit surreal, really. So.
Yeah, I guess you might get some news, hopefully, at the end of this week, or by the time this podcast comes out on Saturday, as to what might happen going forward. But
I think I'll be in lockdown for the next 5 weeks anyway. Obviously with baby due, so I won't be going to work for a while. So.
Yeah. So what's your due date?
15th of June, mate.
Same day as Fred.
There we are.
That'll be a nice day to come out and celebrate at the end of all this. Fingers crossed. Are you kind of going to be allowed into the hospital and all that kind of stuff? Or
yeah, I think at the moment, as things are like numbers are improving, in Baines and the RUH, blokes are allowed in. Well, partners are allowed in the whole time. So I can't go to appointments, but I can go to the birth. So hopefully that stays in place. So 5 weeks to go as of tomorrow.
Awesome. Well, fingers crossed, everything kind of clears up and you don't have any problems being in the delivery room. I know it's kind of it's a pretty awesome, experience. I'm sure Reggie will say the same thing. But
fingers crossed.
Moving on, we've got some cricket to talk about. Ricky, you've been sort of patiently waiting to sort of get stuck into the second team season.
He's been adding some notes to his 5 pieces of paper that he's got.
Yeah, so
I kept the same ones, mate. I'll just say the whole thing again.
He sent me a list of topics, games to cover, and the first draft of this list was it maybe 17 of the 18 games. We sort of trimmed it down to 7 or 8. Pops, where do you want to start, mate? Because obviously last season, coming off the season before where it was a bit of a dash to kind of stay in the league, and obviously it was a completely different kind of season. What did you have as your kind of realistic goal going into this season?
Well, yeah, the year before was a massive blur, really. I sort of got thrown in the deep ends, a lot of stuff happened, and then we thankfully stayed up. So it sort of came and went without me really thinking about it too much. But I remember thinking I thought we'd improve, I thought we'd do better, but a title tilt was probably felt like a bit of a leap at that stage, I think, going into it. And certainly after the first game, it felt like an absolute light year away, which didn't really go to plan. If everyone else won, we got absolutely battered. And yeah, I remember you lot all coming back, sort of celebrating. The threes come back celebrating. We'd been sort of whinging since 5 o'clock on the thrashers.
Well, again, you can't. You've always got to look at the positives, haven't you? I mean, if you bat first and get bowled out for 100, sure you might lose the game, but you're also back at the bar by 5.
Yeah, I remember. I can just vividly remember thinking we'd hit the jackpot because I got my mum in to do the teas, and then she wasn't able to cook half of it because we were skittled in about. I think you ended up having more than us when he got back because you did it after the game. But...
Oh, those Yorkshire puddings, unreal.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure we didn't make 100.
Well, I've got the scorecard in front of me here, and it says 105 all out. Although that's generous because there are 40 extras. Which is remarkable in a score of 105. So obviously Potts kind of following this game, I guess what happened next must have come a little bit out of the blue, I suppose.
Yeah, so it was Trullex. This feels remarkably like my speech, by the way. Get worried. But, yeah, it was. So we knew we had Trull next. We'd obviously flown through the leagues a bit. We knew they were going to be strong, and we got a bit of luck because I think their best player was unavailable. Still, and he was a good bowler, but it was still a really good size. We knew we were going to be up against it, and I think we won. I think it rained. We won a good toss, and that's sort of where the strategy ended up being born. Really, we had 5 bowlers that day who all were just absolutely outstanding, and we've seen you the last couple of years just win quite a lot of games, batting averagely, but just being able to blow opposition teams away. And I don't know, that game, it was just constant pressure from both ends. We were able to get 4 or 5 good bowlers on the pitch, and we thought, yeah, we can win a lot of games playing like this. And so I think we bowled out for a low score, and then classic Frome run chase after that.
Yeah.
Not dead.
It's going to be a bit of a recurring theme, I think, because obviously, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2 games, I mean, the batting kind of became a bit of an issue towards the back end of the season. But, some of the in just this game that you're talking about, the Troll game, which looking back at the end of the season, given how strong their campaign was, I mean, obviously it looks like a really, really good win. But just tell us about Neil Collis and his impact with the new ball every week.
I remember his kids running about 20 laps of the field every game. Yeah, if you look in the dictionary under "run through a brick wall," there's a picture of Neil Collis basically in the dictionary. I know you say, I know.
Look at the dictionary for "run through a brick wall." There's a picture of Neil Collis. I got you, Ricky. I understand, mate. Go on, you go on.
I know. Spike wears heart on the sleeve, sort of though. But I got the impression that if you told Neil Collis to do anything, you just do it, no questions asked. And he bowled some really, really top spells for us. Quite sort of skiddy, gets a bit of bounce with it as well. And yeah, he got a lot of really, really important wickets for us, and always sort of put the opposition on the back foot more often than not.
So you win that game, thanks to Neil Collis and others, and sort of roll through North Newton. I guess this must have been the highlight, I suppose, from a batting point of view. You've got, I suppose, one of the more difficult things of being a second team captain in particular is the kind of choppy, changing nature of the side. Josh, I know you've had plenty of experience with this yourself. How difficult is it for a captain to, have to deal with such inconsistency every week, and having to change batting orders and bowling orders and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think it's really tough. I think it's got maybe a little bit easier, and I'm not saying Potts has got it easy, obviously, with a third team when Nick is relatively self-sufficient and you can sort of take from that pool to fill your 11. But a lot of my struggles mainly got to getting 11 blokes out for a while. But obviously the idea that when someone gets 100, they go to the ones. I think that game you're talking about, Vila scored a big 100, and you think if he had played a season for the twos, he would have scored 600-700 runs. And he's taken from us. I don't think he played another game, if not a couple. So obviously every time someone did well, they're taken from you, and that's really difficult to know, because obviously you want someone to score runs and take wickets, but also know that if someone's away the week after, they're then not with you. It's a pretty tough balance of how well you want people to do. So, and
I think Ricky probably, certainly from the perspective of a first team player, your team seemed to have no problem kind of getting that team spirit together, each week, despite massively different names. Just tell us a little bit about what that was like, in terms of dressing room environment and all that kind of stuff with the twos last year.
Well, obviously, I think that Trull game was actually a really big part of it. I think everyone realised that was quite a special win, and they all sort of bought into this idea of let's go and push and just try and get as many wickets as we can sort of side of it. So I think there's a few that excited a lot. I think Arthur really bought into this idea of maybe for giving the extra sweeper, getting another slip, manning on the short in, and it was just, I think it felt fun trying to take the aggressive option with the ball a lot more and try and get a few more wickets. And yeah, everyone bought into it, and the success that followed probably helped a lot as well. Like,
I think Potts was
dressing room when you win 8 out of 9 than when you sort of lose 6 out of 7.
I think Potts was an integral part of that, because having come from a first team dressing room the year before, he brought the warm up, and you played the football and did the warm up and that sort of thing. And it's something I tried to instill in the year before and never really succeeded, but everyone sort of bought into that. So everything kind of felt like Potts had brought it down from the first team, and we really got behind that, especially the younger blokes, Arthur and Coxey and Matt Knight. I think he really brought that level of first team professionalism down, and I think everyone bought into that, which really helped.
Who are the best footballers, Potts, in your side?
I don't think I've scored a goal in 4 years, so it probably isn't me. Tim Leonard's actually quite quick, isn't he?
Mark Harmon.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I bet he's a sweeper at the back.
He looks like he's always got more time than everyone else. He's one of them, isn't he?
Oh, just experienced. But he's just got a nice touch, eye for a pass.
Sweeps it side to side.
Watching him and Arf give each other the elbows is great.
So. Yeah, the standard of football in the first team has just dropped off massively.
Do you go fats versus skinnies, or is it oldies versus youngies?
I don't know, mate. I had a bad experience as Yeovil when someone broke me glasses from the.
I don't know who that was, mate.
So I've tried to change a few things on that front, to be honest, but
I know nothing about that.
Yeah, I'm still waiting to see how the investigation that goes, I think. Corruption at all levels.
We've got fats v skinnies, but it's sort of really fats against sort of slightly fats with a couple of athletes in the first team at the moment. I think there are some very fortunate people going to be getting away with being called a skinny 11 member, but
yeah.
they know who they are, don't they?
I look at your side and I wouldn't take your goalkeeper.
No.
I don't know. I think we're all pretty solid. I think you've got a lot of flair, but I think
you got Ethan.
I think we grind out and take it at the end. I think.
I wouldn't fancy us in a shootout with Coxey between the posts, to be honest. But we're just getting off topic a little bit here, aren't we, Potts? So anyway, we beat Taunton. We beat Taunton twos away on a road, probably because it's always a road down there. And a decent chase by the looks of things. JD playing a good knock. Yeah,
fantastic knock. That was interesting. I think we were 120 up to 7 or something, and he just took charge and played hero's knock really. And we had to run the games like that when probably didn't bat brilliantly, but just someone always stuck up their hand up and sort of did the hard yards when they were needed. And he was fantastic that day.
That knock from JD, was that worth some chicken balls after the game, or?
Yeah, I think he just
he treat himself.
Yeah, I think he had 50 from the week before he had to get through. In fairness, so.
Ricky will never have another Chinese down at the club again after he tried to my chicken chow mein. So obviously you sort of mentioned that you went on a run of eight of 9, and that's obviously brilliant, put you in a great position. Potts, being a northerner, listed on his short list of games to talk about 8 games, 7 of which are defeats. Natural pessimist. I guess probably the one that sticks out for us, typically speaking, the twos games, your games are coming to the conclusion around the same sort of time that ours kind of just finished. It always seemed to work out that way. So sometimes we've got Josh doing the live commentary, or we've got a live stream going on. But the Bridgie game away.
Oh God,
Josh,
yeah.
do you want to take the reins on that one?
It was just a day of a few things stand out for it. The first thing that stands out really is Potts had just told us we were playing with 10, and we'd forgotten the stumps for the warm up, so we put 2 pads leant against each other, some stumps. And we were trying to do a warm-up on the outfield on this little park. Bridgie have got that perfect ground on one side, and then you walk over and you're in the little park. And Mark Harmon said, F this is ridiculous. Walked up, hit the bells off, took 3 stumps out and set up our training drill with their stumps, which sort of set the day up as, we weren't greatly prepared and things were just not quite going our way. But that was a real sort of standout image of that. But the thing I remember about that day is Pinch scored a really good 50. We didn't really know what we had with Pinch with the bat. We knew he was a brilliant keeper, and he scored some sort of useful runs in the chase against Troll. But I think Leonard got us off to a great start, and Pinch got some really, really crucial runs to get us up to a decent score. And we knew that we had a really good chance of defending it, but we had 4 bowlers really. Coxey had hurt himself; he got hit in his batting innings, and we knew it was going to sort of be a tough sort of defending of that total. But it went right to the wire, and there's a few moments in the sort of bowling innings that stand out as sort of close, but just got through the fingers. Or I remember one, they were about 8 down, and one got chipped up to Mark Harmon at short mid wicket, and he just didn't see the ball, like an underarm straight to him. I've never seen him drop anything, and he just didn't see it, and it landed on his feet. But things like that just didn't quite go our way that day. So,
I mean, and obviously, I guess in second team cricket, particularly when you're playing on some of these games, you always sort of think, 220 plus is going to be a winning score. But I guess for large parts of that game, it looked like it was going to be a winning score. But can you talk us through the final few moments of that game?
I just don't know how to miss the bloody stumps. I was standing at slip, and this lad who didn't know which end to hold, sort of just standing there to Mark Harmon, and I just remember seeing the perfect Yorker, and next thing I know, everyone's looking around this, going down the fine leg for 4 byes, and I just defy science how that ball did not hit the stump. But yeah, I know that was a really, really tough defeat, but I would probably all the games we had, that was probably one I was most proud of everyone, to be honest. That was really, really tough going there with 10. No one wins, got on with it, and we really, really deserved to win, to make that an incredible win, which it would have been. And if one of 5 things had gone our way, we would have done. But unfortunately, one of those days when not everything goes for you, unfortunately.
As kind of heartbreaking as it was, that game, you guys bounced back brilliantly from that. You won your next 4. Or 5 maybe, and it seemed like you were absolutely flying. We had that spell at the club where we have 4 back-to-back happy hours.
That was June, wasn't it?
That was not good. Not a good time.
I think we won June, didn't we, as a club?
Yeah, I think so.
I think we lost the game in any of the 3 senior teams. And just I guess things started to go wrong. Obviously, we lost at home to Troll, which I remember talking to you before the Troll game and the North Newton game. They look like two big games, and I guess if we could have won one of those two, I suppose things might have been different. I mean, I guess the Troll game you just got beaten, but in a sort of a bit of a recurring theme, the conclusion to the game at North Newton was also a bit of a thriller, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yes, I think we just seem to keep losing by one wicket, 4 or 5 runs when we started getting on this bad run. And it was a bonkers game. I think they were 30 for 6 or something. And then without doing too much wrong, 2 of their lads just batted well, got 160. And then we were out of it. And then from nowhere, Matt Knight, Nav, and Ethan were just absolutely incredible. It just, from being absolutely nowhere, all of a sudden it was down to 1 hit. And yeah, I think I saw the presentation. That ball felt like it was in the air for about 20 minutes when he hit it, and it was, I think, about 2 meters short. And he got caught in the line at the end. It was gutting. I mean, they played really well and deserved to win, in fairness. But I felt really, really sorry for those 3 because the effort they put in the end really, really deserved sort of more than the heartbreaking end that it had, really. And it was weird at that point because I didn't feel we'd actually played badly for quite a long time. There was this feeling of things were starting to, when we had the rub of the green for the previous 6 weeks, things were starting to go against us now. And yeah, I've not really had to try and cope with that before. Found that quite difficult at that point. And
I guess all these really tight games. I suppose looking back now, you think, well, we just won one of those. Somewhere along the way, things could have been different. Obviously, the Taunton game.
Oh God, yeah.
Was a great one. In the notes you sent me, you said a Phil Brown-esque meltdown at the end of the game. Those people, obviously, sort of quite relevant to me, but for people that weren't sort of following Hull City at the end of the 2000s, might not have seen. You got to sort of YouTube it at the empty had. But tell us about what happened there, Potts.
So I think we played all right the previous 2 and lost, and then the Taunton game, I think we just got skivelled. Some lads swung it, we were just blown away. And I'd been aware that our batting had been average, our bowlers had been winning us most games, and that was, I think, 3 defeats on the bounce. And I don't know, have you ever had it when you feel like I've got to say something here, and you sort of call a meeting, and then you realise you've got absolutely no idea what you want to say, trying to address it. So we all sat down on the pitch after the game, and I was sitting down, and I just remember thinking, you've got no idea what you're going to say. What are you doing? And all this, and it was just an absolute car crash from there. So I mean, imagine Phil Brown at the Etihad if Jimmy Bullard's mum had come halfway through and sort of took him away, and then their team all then came across for a beer when he tried to make a point. It was awful.
What do you mean?
So we're trying to have a serious chat about the batting, where it was going wrong, and then I think Matt Knight's mum came across and said, "We've got to go now. Is that all right?"
I'm really sorry to interrupt, Richard, but we've got to beat the traffic. Wow. Okay.
Bad times. Not my finest hour.
And it's always a bit hit and miss with those. I mean, I've been in a lot of changing rooms where captains, coaches, whatever, have tried to sort of fire you up after a bad loss or whatever. I mean, I have myself, when being captain of teams, there was one game at Bath. We were playing Froster in a big game, and we just bottled a chain. And I remember standing all of them, effing and finding, telling them all where they go, etc., and said, if you're gonna not bother trying, then you can effing yourselves next week. Picked up my kit, out the door, down the stairs, got my keys out, and realised that my car was parked behind our 95-year-old umpire's Honda Jazz and sort of walk back into the clubhouse. Sort of my legs. Oh, excuse me, Ken, can you move your car, please? Whilst the rest of my team was still on the balcony in hysterics. But I feel like those conversations actually kind of often resonate more after a win. Like if you sort of save it up, which I guess in this run, I suppose you could have saved up for a while, but if you sort of save it up, I just feel like when people lose, sometimes it can go in one ear and out the other, can't it? But you sort of managed to bounce back. There was a little bit of a bounce back, wasn't there, at the start of August?
Yeah, maybe the Phil Brown thing worked. I don't know, but yeah, we did really well next game. I think we absolutely thumped Bridgie at home, and then the Penella game it chucked it down, didn't it? And it was sort of reduced overs, and I think we batted, and they only had about 15 overs to bat or something. And I just remember Ethan bowling one of the spells of the season. It was probably as quick as anything that I've sort of seen that year. There were stumps out the ground, people getting hit on the toe. Some bloke squared up to him, and then next ball he pinned him out with a It was a brilliant hour when I think we had the 9 down at the end. If we'd have pulled that one off, that would have been just missing out on an incredible win. But yeah, it looked like we'd got our mojo back and turned it around at that point. And we I remember at the end as well, I think you won the league that week, and I think you'd won the cup as well. And I remember feeling at the end that all the focus of the club was now on us, whereas we'd sort of been the undercard up to that point. And that made you a very sort of nervous running coming up, which
everything sort of changed, in sort of selection meetings and stuff, and you've all kind of very invested. I think everybody was, in all three teams on the two's kind of the two's journey and the conclusion it was coming to. Which part, unfortunately, mate, does lead us to August the 31st, 2019. So, winner take all, Long Sutton. Obviously, trial already up, and there is one more spot available. Going into that game, you were a bit of a wreck, weren't you? Let's be honest.
Yeah, I've had better weeks, I think. Yeah.
I mean, we had plenty of conversations leading into that week, and you didn't. At that stage of the season, you probably weren't sleeping an awful lot. Did it feel? I mean, on the day of the game, I mean, did you sort of feel different? Did you feel like it was just,
So we'd had 2 bad losses, and I just remember thinking the whole week we were going to up our game, they were going to turn up, and there was absolutely no way it wasn't going to be another sort of horrible, tight, really, really close finish sort of thing. And yeah, sort of every time we got into trouble, we bounced back. So I think Joe and JD batted brilliantly from when we were 30 for 3. Both got 50 and really, really, really when it mattered to get to a decent score. And then all the way through their innings, as soon as we got on top, it just felt like they bounced back, which they did. So we got a few wickets, they got a few runs, and then the ending was absolutely absurd. And yeah, to say I haven't thought about it every day since would be lying. Really.
There's nothing else to think about at the moment.
Yeah.
So come on then, let's obviously for me and Reggie. Well, Reggie was bottling 100 at Taunton Dean, but the rest of us were walking around the sort of following the ball by ball. Josh, obviously you'd kind of been in and out of the side, but from a fielder's perspective, how tense was it, in that second innings that afternoon?
Yeah, hugely tense. I remember vividly fielding right in front of the score box in the net that sits there, and asking Gullock to swap from deep square leg to deep mid wicket, and we said we'd do it the next ball, and a ball got skied to me at I ran round to fine leg and caught one in front of Sumo, and I normally drop those and get hurls of abuse from the drunk crowd. There's about 6 o'clock, and I remember their blokes cheering, thinking they'd hit a 6, and I ran around the corner and thinking we're right back in this here. And then they had a young lad come out. It must have been batting at 9 or 10, and we thought, he looked really, really nervous, and if we can squeeze him, we're right on top of this here. And he played a blinding innings and held his composure really. So I remember going to shake his hand at the end, saying well played, and his sort of parents came over saying, giving him hugs like he just won the county championship or whatever. Like he felt like he'd really, really stepped up for them. But it was really tough. We all felt it. I remember people sitting on the outfield afterwards for 10, 15 minutes, just really struggling to put it together, having had a really up and down season. So,
Potts, what about you, mate? I mean, being on the field, trying to hold everything together, when it gets really tense, isn't easy. I mean, how did you cope with that?
I don't think I did really. I think they were actually I think they were quite a decent set of blokes, and the immediate aftermath it was desolation. But I think we got them all, and we had actually a decent chat with them at the end. And I remember thinking that I think the year before they were 9th and probably should have been relegated. They were a bit lucky to stay up, but they just focused on working hard, improving themselves as cricketers, and with pretty much the same team, they'd gone from 9 to going up. And I remember thinking there's absolutely no reason we can't do that. They did. Those last 3 games, I think they'd knocked off 250. I think they defended 140 and then they beat us. And I just remember thinking, we've missed a great opportunity, but there's absolutely no reason we can't do what they've done next year. And I think I went back to crying after that. But yeah, it was. Yeah, they were a really good example, I think, to us for how we can go up, we can get to where we want to be. And as I say, if we can improve our batting as a team, maybe everyone in the team's had sort of an outstanding knock all year, but putting all that together into a consistent batting innings, I think we'll be in really good shape for managing to do it. Getting 200 has become the norm, I think, not the exception.
I think, looking down the lineup, the batting lineup you had, in that game at the end of the season, there is so many runs in that lineup. I think you've got Mark Harmon coming in at 9, and I think sometimes the danger is, I think a lot of the time, the one thing that amateur cricketers, club cricketers, at a certain level, one thing that I think people find the most difficult is understanding their own game and knowing what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are, and therefore playing to your strengths and understanding how you can score runs. I look at someone like Tim Leonard, who I think he understands his game. Okay, maybe he's not going to get you 100 every week, but he plays his game, and sometimes it comes off, sometimes it doesn't. I think you're very similar, and I think you understand your game very well. But I think there are definitely plenty of players all across the club who, I think, if there was just a better understanding of where they're strong, where they're weak, and then how they can use that to their advantage. There's so many more runs in that side. I mean, the ability you've got in there. I mean, we all know how good Joe can be. This innings proves that, and he's played plenty of big knocks for us. I just think maybe he's one sort of run of games away from getting that confidence that he needs to go on and score runs. Ryan, is another one who, we've seen in Whipple cricket how effective he can be. I think your team's got every chance of going one better as and when we do, get to playing cricket again. I guess for you, Potts, let's assume that if we do play cricket this year, and there is a league structure, what would your goal be?
Well, I don't think we'll accept anything less than sort of going up now. We've had a taste of it, and it was just the feeling of actually being in live games at the end of the season, and just the feeling of the Trill game and the Long Sutton game, and being the main focus of the club. I think once we've had that once, I think we're going to want that all the time now. So yeah, it's got to be going up. Why not win it? Win it. Take that back.
I think a big thing here is that 5 years before this Long Sutton game, we played to stay up against Cranmore from Division 5 of the Somerset Cricket League, and then 5 years later we're playing to get promoted from Division 2, and I think that says a huge amount about where we've come from.
Amazing.
And sort of, you know, the team atmosphere that we've had, it used to be a very sort of fragmented dressing room, and we were all together trying to get promoted from Division 2, having nearly got relegated to the bottom league of sort of the top section of the Somerset Cricket League. And we used to go and play a lot of the village sides around, to now playing some of the better sides around, second teams in the county. I think it's a huge step for where we've come from and where we're going to push on to. So
you talk about the team unity. I think that's something that is so evident in all four sides that we have. It just seems like everyone just really enjoys playing with each other. I think that's something that's really rare. And I think you've done a brilliant job, Potts, in everything that you've done with that second team. And fingers crossed, going forward, we can obviously have plenty of good days. We see you guys up in the Monmouth Scientific Premier League as it is at the moment.
MSL, mate. MSL.
Well, listen. Obviously, that's been a little bit painful. We're gonna try and lighten the mood a little bit now. Obviously, our listeners have been listening to you talk about your second team games, which is fantastic, but not always filled with positivity. So, Ricky has got a little feature for us this week. Not Ricky, Reggie. Reggie, what you got for us, mate?
Okay, so we're gonna go on to tees, and it's we had a little bit of a competition in the first team last year.
I know what you're gonna say.
Yeah, go on then. I'll go. Don't worry. So basically, my question to you, Potts, is what was the worst tee you had to start with? I'll let you answer that one.
So I think I was fortunate. I missed Cheddar away.
It would have been Cheddar away though.
Are you on about home tee or?
No, let's go tee in general.
So, I mean, Cheddar's notorious. So, I mean, I can't imagine them deciding to turn it on for the week I'm not there. But the ones I've had personally, they weren't too bad, if you might remember. I think potentially Burnham on Seas, but that's just because it was 35 degrees and we'd been hit for about 300 and sitting 170 and.
By the strangest man I've ever met.
If you didn't need that day, I think. But yeah, I remember thinking we got away with it a bit last year. It wasn't too bad.
Mate, that Burnham Sea game. Sorry, Ricky. God, you guys have got similar names. Sorry, Josh. You were just going to say something then. What were you going to say about Burnham Sea?
He was So we played Burnham at home, and Sam skittled them, and they had a bloke who. Got caught down the leg side who tried to review his decision. So we had a neutral umpire. And he turned around and sort of gave the tee signal and then went back out at tee to argue that he hadn't hit it and he was a football referee who would change his decision if he thought he'd made a mistake. So we went away to Burnham thinking, that we rolled them for 60 at home, we'll be all right. We had a really strong bowling attack. And while we were warming up, they had a bloke having throwdowns. And, normally with throwdowns, you pat it back down the middle of the track. And he was getting throwdowns and two-stepping it and whacking it into the top of the net. And we were thinking, what on earth is this bloke doing? Mm-hmm. And it turned out he came out and did that for 2.5 hours while hitting 160. And then finally, he told us that the Burnham all-time record was 165. And he was on about 140.
Wow.
And Coxey hit him in the thigh, and he went down to the floor and sort of crawled to square leg where I was fielding. And both of their umpires, who were players, walked away from him to the other side of the ground and just left him lying prone on the ground, desperate for him not to get to this total. It was one of the most surreal things I've ever seen.
Love it.
And on this man's Twitter profile, he has his batting average in his sort of like bio, hoping for a Whipple contract, I think. So.
Oh my
God! Oh, sign him up now.
I think me, Potts, and Joe regularly send each other his tweets for some amusement. So
sign him up. What a man! Sign him up.
We're going to need some of those to drop into the Frome Cricket WhatsApp group, I think, Josh.
Oh, he's on the watch list, definitely.
Right,
what list?
Go on, Reggie.
So yeah. Anyway, in the first team, we tried something a little bit different this year. Whereas every single player had to do a tee for a home game. Well, not every single player, because Scott Lewis got away with it somehow. But so basically, we had a tee where Letty, I think it was Wellington, won it, I believe.
I got out in the second over on purpose because I knew I had 3 lasagnas. I knew you were going to bring this up. I should never.
So basically, I just want to get your guys' opinion on this. Letty did lasagna for tea, which are ridiculous. When you got to go out and bowl 10 overs, absolutely ridiculous. But would you put carrots in your lasagna?
That's bold. Well, the obvious answer is no. But why? When did you make the decision to do lasagna for cricket tea? Because I always think there's a sweet spot of effort where you've got to put some in, but don't go too far. And I just feel you've tried to make a statement there when one wasn't really needed.
And it didn't go down very well with one of the Wellington players.
Oh, look, you can't put that in my face. I had a vegetable quiche. So.
Poor bloke, vegetarian, and he's there with 3 beef lasagnas in his face, the poor bloke.
No, there was a vegetable quiche. There was a bit of salad. Look, Ricky, everyone goes down the route of sandwiches, maybe some roast potatoes, maybe like some chicken nuggets, a bit of pizza and all that. That's fine. You get that every week. I thought.
Yeah, reason for that.
No, I'm gonna treat them. I'm gonna treat my guys this week. Look, there were some issues. I mean, trying to feed sort of 26, 28 people lasagna for 75 quid is a challenge, you know. And we ended up having creme fraiche instead of making a bechamel sauce, which. Looking back, you know, obviously, if I had my time again, you know, maybe I'd look into it. But I mean, God, forgive me for trying to get a few vegetables.
But for the traditionalists at the club, Lay, I'm afraid they want sandwiches, chicken nuggets, pizzas. They don't want this lasagna muck that you put on.
I've washed my hands.
I don't think the Italian national team wanted it, Reg.
It did cause some entertainment on Twitter that evening, though. So
yeah. Oh yeah,
that was good fun.
Until the early hours of the morning.
That keeper he's a very strange guy. You do sort of wonder the sort of psyche of someone who sort of scrolls through kind of Whipple Twitter to sort of views online. But
I think 80% of the tweets have been deleted by 9 o'clock the next morning.
I'm sure that Nick Larder had a couple of beers and was on Twitter account that night.
I got a couple of new followers out of that. I was quite happy.
Oh, mate, you've obviously got your best mate, haven't you, Luke?
Yeah, me and my mate Luke to save. We're best buds now.
I think T's obviously peaks. The right T won the award at the end of the season, but the bloke who got it had absolutely nothing to do with making it. That was my biggest quibble.
Who won it in the end? I can't remember.
It wasn't. It's Georgia, wasn't it? But
it should have been Bart's though, shouldn't it?
What did Bart's have for his tea? I can't remember.
Oh, he turned out all these different sausage rolls and breads. It was lovely, and it was in those baskets, wasn't it? It looked amazing.
So you've done your weekly feature on best tea just so you could have
a pop at you, yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
What was yours tea like? So I remember a tweet saying yours was even worse than Yeovil's, sort of using them as a yardstick. What did they have?
Well, my tea was worse than Yeovil's. Ridiculous.
That's all the Welling one said.
Listen, obviously after the whole gazebo changing room incident in the rain,
Yeah, you can imagine what you got down there.
you know, Yeovil, you don't expect much. You take your own packed lunch and an umbrella and hope that you stay dry and well fed.
I think the wall fell down last time we played there, didn't it?
It did, mate. Yeah, it did.
Potts missed out on Cheddar away, and we went, and Sam was captain, and it pissed it down with rain for the whole afternoon. And I remember Scott Lewis with wet whites on, eating into a plain bit of baguette with some dry tomato pasta, looking so thoroughly miserable. We'd played wing ball cricket on the outfield for about 2 hours. And then they finally got out and played, and then we sat and had tea, and there was one stick of baguette and one pot of dry pasta. and a 24-pack of Walker's crisps.
Yes, I remember that.
That was it.
We went to the co-op, didn't we, Letty?
Yeah, we did. You'd think you'd be met with, you know, all kinds of nice cheeses and, you know, local delicacies.
Fresh water out the reservoir, the lot, mate.
I just remember Scott's face being an absolute picture.
Don't take much.
They didn't have a knife either, did they? They had a stick of bread and no knife. That sort of ripped chunks off it.
What, you tearing it off? dipping it in the butter?
Right, listen, Reg, are you done abusing me yet, or have you got another part to your...
No, I do want to know what their best tea was as well.
Josh, best tea of last season? What do you have?
It's got to be Potts' mum, first game of the season, even though we'd be rolled for 105.
Yeah, I enjoyed that too because we were there.
It's a shame she lives miles away. Otherwise, we'd have her every other week.
Right.
Sorry, go on.
No, you go, Ricky.
I was just wondering, she did Taunton at home as well when we got bowled out in 19 overs as well. So
yeah, I was dropped then, mate.
Yeah, she deserves a. Sorry, mate. She deserves another go where she gets a bit more time, I think.
All right.
Yeah, I'm done now, Rob.
Okay, good. Right, so we've got some. Obviously, we had our first episode last week. We've had some interaction with the fans out there, haven't we? We've had a few questions come in.
Can't stop ringing.
No, it's been off the hook. I
haven't got time for it.
I don't have storage, mate. But anyway,
I've got no time on my hands.
No, I know. But look, we're gonna have to get through some of these. We are running low on time. But let's get to this one. This is for Josh. Got a question for you, Josh.
From his mum.
This one's from Joe S in Frome, and he says, Josh, if you're driving to Minehead for an away game, which 2 players are you taking in your car with you? And
he never drives.
I'm probably taking Joe S himself and Sam Wheeler because as fellow cricket badgers, we could probably put our favourite 2010, 2011, 2012 England sides together for a long time. I once made that trip with Copy and Braish, which is one I won't make again. So,
so your sort of car journey chat is it all business, all cricket, Josh? You just go full Badger.
I'm quite a big Badger. In fact, last night I spent the whole night going through second team scorecards to try and prepare for this. So, I'm a relatively big Badger. So,
I suppose we can kick it over to Potts. What are you thinking about that question from Joe S in Frome?
2 to Minehead.
Yeah, 2 to Minehead, mate.
I would go Neil Dredge for the music, and
Neil Dredge.
I'd go. You know what? I'd go Vila for knowledge of the 90s as well. A very 90s card, that covers all the bases, I think.
You've gone for age. Okay, I like it. Obviously, Reggie, you're probably just going to say me and Sam, I'd have thought, aren't you?
Yeah.
I would say it's, if I was going to choose someone's car to get into, it would probably be yours, Reggie, because we'll be down there in an hour. But yeah, it's a tough.
Hey, we're even closer now. I'd have to come to Holcombe.
No, I know, mate. We'll be absolutely flying. Well, we won't be flying down to Minehead anytime soon, hopefully.
Nah, fuck that. Oh, sorry.
Oh, 1 hour 9. Asa will be listening to this right because we know Asa's listening. Asa, 1 hour 15 weeks. I think you put the challenge to him, and 1 hour 9. We'll log it. Make a note of that. Good.
Sorry.
Yeah, well done. Okay, moving on. So we've got another question. This one is from James Unwin.
Never heard of him.
No, he hasn't said where he's from actually. But this one
he floats between Frome and Salisbury. I heard.
This one's from James Unwin. He says this is for well, there's two questions here. He's got one for Potts, so we start with that one. He says, for Potts, do you feel you can take Frome seconds to Whipple cricket within the next few seasons?
Well, how can I say anything else but hell yeah to that? Yeah, I do. So I think Wells just missed out on going up the Whipple last year, and if they can do that, I don't think there's any reason why we can't get to that stage either. They just do a lot of simple things well. I really don't see why we can't aspire to do exactly the same. So, of course we can, James. Thanks for your question.
Do you know what? I've got one for Josh and one for Reggie, but we'll go to Josh first. This from the same fan. He says, would you rather have hands where your feet are or feet where your hands are?
Definitely hands where my feet are, James.
Can you tell us why?
I think your hands are quite useful, aren't you? As long as I can balance, my feet don't need to do that much.
Well, Reggie's answers to this is easy because watching him fielding this flips this season, he's got hands and feet anyway. So, Potts, what about you? Hands where your feet are, or feet where your hands are?
Yeah, hands on feet. You can stay in the ring then, can't you?
You'd need some sort of special
actually, take that
glove.
Back. Feet where your hands are, because I wouldn't have to go out and umpire then.
You'd just be a very batting orientated umpire, wouldn't you? No one's getting given out. I suppose I'd go hands like feet, as long as I had sort of like a specially made glove with like a sole on the bottom, so that obviously didn't have to walk around on my hands. James, that's a really, really good question. Thank you.
I struggle to catch as it is, let alone with feet as hands.
Reggie,
I would not trust Scott Lewis with 4 hands.
Very good point.
They wouldn't get any action.
James Unwin himself, if he is the person I'm thinking of, probably falls into that same category. Reggie.
Yeah.
Question for you. This one is from Anonymous, and it says, what's the best prank you have played on someone in your team?
Do they want the... I don't know if I can reveal it, man. It's still ongoing. It's ongoing, man.
Well, obviously, at the moment, everyone's waiting for the response to Joe's. We'll refer to it as the incident with the shower gel.
With shower gel, yeah.
Yeah. So, what have you got? Anything good?
I can't reveal it. I don't think, Robin. It's still ongoing.
I had Watsy mess around with my grip on my bat a couple of seasons ago, which anyone who's been in a dressing room with me that's like waving a red rag to a bull. So I put tuna sandwiches in his gloves, which he didn't discover for a few weeks, which was pretty funny when he walked out the bat and put his hands in his gloves.
All I will say, mate, is it involved hair from my body. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, we'll probably best.
And they've been stashed somewhere, but that's all I'll say.
Okay, we've got one final question to get to because we are running low on time. Josh, this one's for you. This one's been tweeted in from seems like an alias account. And the question is, what is the strangest thing you've ever seen on a cricket field? In fact, whilst Josh is answering the question, if Ricky and Reggie sort of have a little think, anything comes to mind, maybe we'll go round to finish. But go on, Josh. What have you got?
Yeah, sorry to be uncreative, but it has to be this this Burnham bloke this year who'd been hit and was led on all fours, screaming in pain, and his teammates walking to the other side of the pitch going, we don't want him to play anyway. And then when we went and scored in the second innings, we saw a load of insults written about the bloke on the inside of their scorebox. It's like they couldn't get him away from the club, but he scored 40 average every year for them, so he kept coming back to play. So yeah, I can't get away from that, I'm afraid.
I once had a game of cricket delayed at North Parade for about an hour. The bowl, I can't remember who was bowling. We were fielding, and it ran into bowl, and all of a sudden there was this massive thud, like right next to the bowler. They sort of like jumped back, and there was this massive osprey. It's like a big bird of prey that had just fallen out of the sky, and it was just sat on the outfield with like a full wingspan. Massive. Like, so I've got like my arms fully outstretched. His wings were way wider than that. This massive bird, and it's just fallen out of the sky. And sort of no one really knew what to do with it. This thing's like massive. Someone's like come out with an umpire's coat, and it's sort of started kicking off. So that was a bad idea. Calling out RSPCA sort of came down, and then like someone's come out to try and sort of sort it out. And all of a sudden it's like sprung to life and flown like half across the out. You guys know what it's like at where the river is, that wall at North Parade. It's hit this tree above the wall and then fallen in the river. So. Yeah. I assume that osprey was met with a nasty end. I can't think of anything stranger than that. Reggie, what about you?
Well, I can't really think of anything, to be honest. Watching Buki open the bowling against you was quite strange.
Buki, I tell you what, if there's no chance that Buki's not listening to this right now.
If he is, hello.
Hey, Buki.
Can you please donate?
It's a long commute from mine, Ed, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but you know he's listening, mate. He loves it. I sort of picture him like Saturday morning, just gets up, like buzzing, bounces out of bed, has his breakfasts, and then gets his sort of kit in the car, gets down to the ground early, throwdowns, more throwdowns, bowl throughs, catches. Lads turn up, he's the first one there, plays his game, absolutely loves it because he's a massive lad, probably 40 pints in the clubhouse afterwards. And he goes back.
Goes and sleeps in Butlins for the weekend.
Goes home, back to his bedroom where he's got his, I'm going to say probably Shane-worn bed sheets. Like, ECV cricket poster on the wall. Just cricket, loves it. Potts, what you got?
We're all from the northeast, I think. Funniest one, there was one game where this young lad, top age one, it was grill, and it got sort of stuck between the peak and the grill. And I can only think him and the bowler didn't know the rules. The bowler shouted, "Catch it!" And sort of ran towards him, and this lad just ran off towards square leg, getting chased by the bowler. And he still got halfway to the boundary, and this guy just kept him up, so he just got on his knees and started smashing his head off the ground. So he stayed grounded the ball. I suppose if he was quick, he could just ran and dove over the boundary and got 6, I think. But yeah, I'm going to struggle to top that, I think.
Good.
There was a bloke with one leg as well in the team I played at North, third team, who he opened the baton and he sort of one hit him on the knee and he sort of collapsed. And the opposition teammate didn't really know what was going on. So he didn't even know the bloke had one leg, so he sort of said, "Yeah, mate, you're right." And he goes, "It's all right, I've just broke my leg." Geez, you're right, should we ring an ambulance? And he goes, "No, it's all right, I've got another one in the car." And he hobbled off the car park, opened his boot, and just put his spare leg on and came back. Carried on.
Oh dear.
Oh, good. Well, obviously episode 1 was all right. I think this one's gone all right so far. We'll see. We got to, before we sort of wrap it up, Reggie, we've got to sort of say thank you to our 2 guests. First of all, Josh Cantrell, thank you so much for coming on, mate. You're obviously a very popular man on Twitter. So we'll see.
It's all my family, mate. It's fine.
Well, maybe we'll put you into the poll for next week. We'll see what the reaction is to this episode.
Yeah, see if you're still as popular next week.
Thank you, Josh, very much indeed for coming on.
Thanks, gents. Nice to speak to you.
Well done, mate.
And Ricky, obviously it's been good. Hour and 20 minutes having you spin us a yarn, obviously about the twos last year. Not the way necessarily we might have hoped, but probably at the start of the season we'd have taken that out of. And thank you for coming on and talking us through it, mate.
Pleasure. Thanks, lads. Keep up the good work.
Well done, Ricky.
Brilliant what you're doing.
Right, Reg.
Well, that's another one done, Rob.
Wrapped up, isn't it? I think that went quite well.
Yeah, good laugh at it. It's good.
Right. Well, listen. Obviously we've done 2 of these now. We've got a definite third scheduled, haven't we?
Yes.
Got on the donation page. Can you tell the nice people at home what is the current target?
The current target is 1,500, I believe.
What are we up?
Hang on, I'm just looking now. I think we are up to 1,200 and something, I think. Hang on. This is live. We are.
Yeah, we should probably just sort of mention to people that this is definitely not edited at all.
It's 1,140 at the moment. So
1,140. So what about this? I reckon if we will, as soon as that number hits 1,500,
yeah,
we will begin preparation for episode 3. Would you reckon? Is that fair?
Yeah, sounds good to me, mate.
We've got next week should be a good one. We've got third team and first team league season. What do you reckon, guests? Who should we have on next week?
Well, I think we better go for the 2 captains, haven't we?
We've got Chairman on, haven't we?
I think Andy Ville, by the looks of it, went down quite well. So maybe bring him back and then obviously do another vote. I think. I
don't know, Andy. You didn't do well on the old dealer.
No, it didn't. But
that might have something to do with the fact that because he's so old, all the people that know him probably don't have social media.
He got my vote though.
Josh is on mute, but he's still listening. I'm not going to reveal who my vote was for because they didn't win, so it's not relevant. So we'll come back for another episode next week.
Yeah.
And now that you're out of self-isolation, we can probably have a post-match beer on the wall, can't we?
We better have a cold one, haven't we? Because I have actually run out.
That's not ideal, mate. Right, listen,
No.
Everybody, thank you very much for tuning in. Those of you that have, share it, tweet it, post it on Facebook, tell your friends, send the link, all that stuff. We're doing our best to keep the club alive and kicking at the moment, and everything that you're doing at the moment, as we said at the start of the episode, is contributing towards that. So if you continue to support us, we'll continue to put episodes out and hopefully bring a smile to your face. So thank you, Reggie, for
Thank you, Robin.
listening. And thanks to everybody out there. We will see you next week.